Metal Slug.
I got a bunch of random images that were saved. I wonder if any of them were ogres. These are all the things, by the way, that we'll be going over later. All the little war scrolls of stuff. Oh, Archeon was in there. Hey, alright. As far as ogres are concerned, become priest. Hero traits: ignore negative modifiers to hit, wound, and control score. Heroic traits, by the way, you don't need to put on your general anymore. Can go on any hero, which is huge. It means that the, like, you know, the tax of playing some guys, your general, largely evaporates. At least for this kind of thing. As I read it, this thing also affects companion abilities. It's one of those. It's one of those that does affect companion stuff. And in Beast Claw specifically, and Ogres to a lesser degree, ignoring negative modifiers to hit wound is really good when everything hits on 4s, and I saw a lot of -1s to hit in 4th edition. -1s to hit are back as a metagame, which they were in 2nd edition, I would say. So this one might be nice. -5 control score for units in combat with the hero. This is actually pretty cool on both a Tyrant and a big Stonehorn or something, because it kind of sets the Stonehorn at 15 relatively if they're fighting one unit, and if they're fighting more than one unit, it's kind of doubling up on all of those guys. That could be a big deal. We are pretty fragile now, so I don't know how much I trust our guys to stay alive for things like capturing after fighting in combat once or twice, but it could be kind of good. Now I will cease pretending like anyone won't take this one every time, because there were reasons maybe to want these two, but you're going to choose this one to make your Frostlord a priest. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. Our prayers are good now. So there it is. Artifacts. Once per battle. There's a lot of once per battle stuff. So for everybody who loved Idna Deepkin artifacts, that should read no one. Welcome to once per battle artifacts for almost everyone. But they're like good. That's the difference. Once per battle, no ward on enemy that you fight, so you can blast them. Once per battle, D6 mortal wounds. I think it's like 12-inch range or closer, but you use it in the shooting phase. D6 mortal wounds, and you heal that much. You can use it in opponent shooting phase as well. This one is low-key possibly good, actually. And then +1 to hit wholly within 12 hero monster. This is what the trophy rack. Do you remember the trophy rack from before? However, I will tell you now, I saw it. I saw it. Alright? Dude, trust me. Trophy rack no longer works on ranged weapons. Melee only. Anyone who thought they were going to shoot stuff in an ogre army, get real. That being said, anybody who looked at the Leadbelcher War Scroll at any point in the entire history of the game, including now, and thought they were going to shoot something, I mean, you were already emotionally ready not to. Iron Blaster's still good, though. Chill. Sub-factions. The Butcher one is +1 to cast. This is good, because +1 to cast bonuses are pretty rare. They took a lot of them away. Well, here, you got one back. +1 to cast. The shooting sub-faction is shoot in combat. This is trash. Because the only thing that shoots that's worth a goddamn in your army is an Iron Blaster. And allowing them to shoot in combat, that's a relatively small percentage of your army getting any sort of buff from a sub-faction. I suppose you could do it. Leadbelcher is trash. Scrap Launcher's not trash. I don't think anyone's going to play with them, because the Iron Blaster is cool. It's too cool, you know? But scrap launchers aren't like complete trash. They're just like if hordes of guys take over the meta or something like that. +1 charge damage for monsters. That's the one that we saw in the faction focus. It's not great, because what you really would want is +1 to the roll. Because the reason trampling charge sucks now, when it was fun and good before, is because it has a 33% chance of doing 0. And it used to have like a 1% chance of doing 0. You have a huge chance of doing nothing when you charge. That's why trampling charge kind of sucks now. However, there is a silver lining, as we will get to later. So maybe don't worry about it. What's the range of IB Big Bomb? It is less. It's like 18, I think. Yeah, they took a 6-inch pay cut on the Iron Blaster. But, unlike the War Scroll you saw for Spearhead, it still has the Grape Shot. So, it still has the better attack than the main one. Which saves the model, I think. They still got the cool-ass, like, 8 attack, 2 damage Grape Shot one, which ended up doing more damage than the main one. You thought IB was 30 for the Long Dong? It was either... I thought it was 24 before. Either it went down to 24 or it went down to 18. It's written in this document, though, I think. People were transcribing. They didn't say... It's 6 inches less range than whatever it used to be. And yeah, they kept the close range shots. The ones that do the real good damage. And then this one is pretty much the same. We kept the D3+3 as well. None of this D6 damage. Anyway, Iron Blaster, good. That's like the long and short of it. And then the other one is -1 to hit from shooting attacks if you're near a Beast Rider. And this is kind of the combined arms one, where if you got Gutbusters next to a Beast Rider, you -1 to hit from shooting. I don't know how terrified you are of shooting exactly in this army. I mean, your armor save sucks for everybody. Like, our armor is terrible. But shooting got a lot worse. So, I don't know how terrified I am of shooting. It's probably still good, but... I'm looking at the +1 to cast, and maybe this one if you're doing a big combo. I don't know if I care about shoot in combat, because it's really just only Iron Blast. Maybe you're taking 4 Iron Blasters in your list, and then everything else is kind of protecting them, like a big castle army or something. I think you could maybe do that. But even then, shoot in combat is just like when your IB gets tagged or something. And this is like your metagame call if the best armies in the game are still shooting armies, right? It's like your metagame one. There's quite a few anti-monster shooting units. You know, that's true. The Beast Skewa Killgrave, or whatever that thing's called, you don't want that thing to hit you. So I guess every little bit counts. Anything to not take whatever, like 18 damage from that thing. As far as your prayers, yes, you get a run and charge prayer. Because there was no way that they were going to give us +2 to run in our battle trades and not give us run and charge. It would have made no sense. The reason I was hesitant to call my shot earlier is because they had been doing a lot of things that didn't make sense recently. So who knew? Gutbuster players, don't worry. You also have a run and charge. Both halves of the army get their run and charge. With a unit they wanted to play with anyway. You don't have to reach outside your comfort zone. Beastclaw wanted a priest anyway, and Gutbusters wanted a butcher anyway. So, you know, we're good. This one works on a 4-up, which is a little coin flippy, sure. And then on a 10-up, you get to reroll both the run and the eventual charge. Big. Kind of nice with it. The butcher one, by the way, is just a straight-up aura. Gives an aura of run and charge to Gutbuster units. Holy 12. Gutbuster specifically. And then the prayer up here is BCR specifically. Everybody gets run and charge. You don't get run and shoot. But nobody was going to do that anyway, right? So it doesn't matter. Just pretend the lead belchers missed. I don't know if their range... I don't know. I can't remember the lead belcher range, but I don't think it reaches from the shelf. So you won't have to be worrying about it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Then we got the blizzard terrain thing, which I don't like. But if you do, go ahead and use it. It's unlimited. It's not the worst. It's just a playstyle I don't like. That's it. I'm not saying it's bad. You target terrain. I really wish you would have. I would rather target, you know, objectives or something with it. It gives you blizzard around that terrain that obscures you from shooting. And then on a 10-up, one time, it gives you a 5-up ward around all those things. To get this 10-up, you will probably have to be off-turn praying. And I don't want to off-turn pray because my command points are precious. I want to be spending them to off-turn charge. But, you know, it's just like you're going to play a different style of army with the same guys if you're doing that. Luckily, run and charge prayer is excellent. This one's good too. All your prayers are good. You don't have to worry about it. Butchers a priest now? No, butchers are casters. They just have an aura. It might be a spell. Give Stonehorns a trait that makes them count as terrain, yeah. And we still have this one. It's got a shorter range, but everything else does. Pick a point 12. Every enemy unit within 3 takes D3. On a 10-up, double damage. Big. On a 10-up, double damage. So 2d3 is that's a pretty decent amount of mortal damage from a prayer. That being said, you are going to take at least one priest. And they are going to take the run and charge one. After that, you can do whatever you want. Take some of these, don't take some of these, but just as a baseline, that's how I see it. Which index am I going through right now? Ogor's, my lord. Shouldn't it be a ward if you're away from terrain? I don't know, man. It should be a ward on the war scroll, how about? No, it's fine. Don't you get the prayer anyway? Yes. Yes, you do. And then spells. Dude, Gutbuster spells are sick. Okay? Gutbuster spells are good. I'm told around your terrain feature you become Wizard 2. It's not a +1 to cast anymore. If you're within 3, it's now 3, it's not 1. If you're within 3 of the Great Maw Pot, you become a double caster instead of a 1 caster. You no longer get the +1 to cast. The +1 to cast can be found in your sub-faction. Your unlimited spell is this one. You target a unit, heal them D3, and then they get +3 to their control score. This is an unlimited spell. You can target the same unit over and over with it. Double stuffed Oreos, triple stuffed Oreos, quadruple stuffed Oreos. Just keep healing. Keep +3 control, +3 control, +3 control. Gluttons are kind of a big deal as far as capturing is concerned. 6 gluttons can very easily become 18 capture. And then you can start casting this spell if you want on them. You can only be targeted once. Check the core rules. All right, it's time. Let's, because I want to be correct here. Let's check the tapes.
We take a look at the tail of the tape.
Some of them may be involved with exotic stuff, like dark matter.
An ABC News brief brought to you by Michelob Light Beer. Now from Washington, Sander Van Oker.
Alright. Let's find out. Sandra Van Ogre, can we check these tapes? Because while I was saying it, I'm like, hold on. I thought there was some sort of limitation. Now, what's the limitation? A unit cannot use more than one core ability per phase. A unit cannot use the same ability more than once per phase unless specified underwear. A unit cannot be affected by the same passive ability more than once at the same time. Okay. I think it works. Unless there's a declare, tell your opponent which, user actions resolve, okay. Now let's see. Is there a sidebar up here? No. Maybe they continue after this. Visibility. Check continuous effects. Where would that be? Oh, do you think that the +3 control becomes a passive because it like gives the thing a passive? But you could keep healing, perhaps? 21.8. Nice. Thank you. I love the numbered system. Okay. Oh, yeah. This weapon is not affected by abilities used by a friendly unit. This was the other check the tapes moment. Friendly unit specifically. So if it's a battle trait, if it's like a army rule that has like the player do something, not like a unit do something, I think it does work on companions. 28.1, yeah. I was looking up while we were there, doing a little drive-by. Advanced ability rules. Some abilities have effects that aren't immediately resolved. E.g., add 1 to save rolls for this unit for the rest of the turn. Or this unit has a ward 5 up for the rest of the turn. These effects count as the effects of passive abilities for their duration. Okay. Which means that the +3 control thing does not stack, although the healing does. You could find some wounded ass Frost Lord, and if you have a million wizards, you could potentially just like heal them up to full, but you're capped at the +3. And I'm gonna keep the core rules open here, just in case we need the check of the tape, as per my previous email. .1 is going to be a really big one that a lot of people miss. Yeah. Because they would go where I went, which is the abilities thing. And be like, yeah, it's not a passive, it's a spell. A spell isn't a passive, but it like becomes a passive later. That might have been a nice number 4 to put in that above place, but I guess it's fine. But isn't healing passive because it keeps you healed for that much? Anyway, spell's still good. Then, of course, there's Ash Cloud, aka... what's the Gutbuster version of Ash Cloud? The Greasy D. The Greasy Deluge. -1 to hit within 18. I don't think this is a big aura. I think it's a target. I'm almost certain this is a target. And then +1 attacks infantry. This is Blood Feast. It only targeted infantry before, basically. Now it still only targets infantry. +1 attacks. +1 attacks in this edition on endless 2 damage weapons, which is just every infantry guy. except for Iron Guts. Very nice. Goonhamper mentioning that you can't target the same multiply, called out specifically. Yeah, just to appreciate that the answer can be found in a rulebook. Yeah, you know, we're living in a good time, acid-based, you're right. We're living in a time where we can look at the rules and find the answer to a question. Ever. I mean, maybe not all of our questions, but most of them, which is a big step up. Anyway, Gutbuster spells, great. Beast Claw prayers, highly good. And then here's all the rampages. I thought that Ogre Leaker was wishful thinking. However, perhaps Vindication. I haven't checked, I haven't cross-referenced to see if those were the case or not. But I'm like, man, they're not going to try hard enough to give a different rampage to all the different monsters. And then Matt Rose did this while he was explaining stuff, and he cast a spell, and he said, yes, we will. Frostsword on Stonehorn, unstoppable charge, except it's only 2d6. But we kept it. And it's in the charge phase. It's right after you charge. So it's still at the right time. Because it's only 2d6, you're not going to, on average, make crazy plays with it. On average, you're just going to be able to squiggle around a little bit and deal damage to stuff, but not like leap out of combat and land next to archers and just kill them, right? But it's still very good, and you can fly over guys still as well. Flosh stay winning. The big thing about Flosh is you do an extra D3 mortals. So what that means is a Flosh's impact hit is roll a D3, and on a 2 or 3 it does that much. Then an additional D3, then you fly over guys and trample them. Flosh is monster trucking. We're still monster trucking. Matt, Rampage World Tour Rose. Yeah, the subfaction adds +1 to the D... Very, very important Larindi. It doesn't add +1 to the D3. It adds 1 to the damage, if any. So the subfaction... The difference is, if it added 1, it would mean that the ability can't fail. But it can still fail with the something. The Frostsword on Thundertusk here. It has a once per game ability. This isn't a rampage, I don't think. But Frostsword on Thundertusk has a once per game that does work like that. You do in fact add 1 to the D3, which means it cannot fail anymore. And it's a big old aura around the guy. So if you're doing Frostsword on Stone or Frostsword on Thundertusk, and you're in the subfaction, what it means is you can't fail, and you're doing 3, 4, or 5 mortals every time, or like 4 or 5 basically every time. I believe it's Holy 12. So it's the once per turn or once per game Mighty Ducks formation Blaster Boy, which is why people might be playing a Frostsword on Thundertusk if they're that kind of player. It might see play. Do we know if Unstoppable Charge is your turn only? I'm pretty sure it's not. Like, I looked at it, I can't quite remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it's any. All of these rampages are any, as long as you charged on that turn. With, I'll give you a 75% certainty. Is a once per game army or per unit? Unknown. Probably army. The Hosh, which we saw in the faction focus. Roll die for each monster, 3-up makes your, crit double hits for their companion weapons only. I should note here. Companion weapons only. and -1 attack for enemy companion weapons. So we have synergy buff, selfish but just driving a monster truck around. The Huskard version is strike last, which you could consider to be a synergy if you have a bunch of monsters around each other. Stonehorn Beast Rider, 3-up, add D6 to the pile in distance. They're just running. They're like a dog, an excited dog on a linoleum floor, just scraping and Tokyo drifting around to get into combat. And then the Thundertusk version, -5 to OC on a 3-up. Don't know what type of thing it can target. Tusk attacks are kind of good. Yeah, so speaking of those, Tusk attacks are, I believe, 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1, 5. Yeah. Thundertusk monster. 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, rend 1, damage 5, anti-infantry +1 rend. And then the dude sitting on it is 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, no rend, damage 1. As you can see, this is crazy swingy. Only 3 attacks. Like, you're going to actually do 0 with this thing a lot. But it's capable of doing damage, unlike before, which it basically wasn't. It used to be, what, 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage D3, I think. Just some tiny pathetic thing like that. Possibly even 3s and 2s, maybe? Anyway, you're going to whiff a lot with Thunder Tusks, but when you don't, things are going to explode, which is kind of cool. This is the profile for the new Frost Spear. All the Frost Spears are this profile. 4 attacks, 4s and 2s, rend 2, damage 2, 3 on the charge. How this is different than before, used to be rend 1, damage 3. Now it's rend 2, damage 2, but 3 on the charge. So essentially a buff. And the Frost Spear has that same special rule that nobody cared about. It's got it still. That if you fail to kill something, it gets -1 attack for the rest of the turn, or until your next turn, or the end of the game, or something like that. Whatever it is, it's nothing to write home about. But we got a whole bunch of different rampages. A reason to play all these different guys, which is kind of nice. Particularly, I don't care about Horde Breakers at all. But I do like this guy's once-a-game ability. I don't care about Strike Last, really. Or the Beast Riders. But, hey, Flosh is looking good. Flot's looking good. I'm pleased. Ogre leaked rules Japan. +2 to run on an army that can run and charge is really good. I mean, they wouldn't have given it to us otherwise. At least I don't think. I started to doubt myself early on, but yeah. Because otherwise a +2 to run rolls is like turn 1 getting into position somewhere maybe, and redeploy. That was basically it. And, well, that just wouldn't make any sense. Ahem. If you get +2 to runs, does that apply to redeploys since they have the run keyword? Yes. Yes, it does. Now, in an Ogre army, you're probably charging instead of redeploying, but I don't know, maybe you saved up 3 entire points and you're doing all of them for a big play. I'm not going to tell you how to live, right? Anyway, playtesters tell me that control scores actually matter, which I'm thrilled about. Mostly for the good of the game. If control scores didn't matter and everyone just one-shot each other, then a whole lot of shit in this game has blank rules text, right? So control score better matter, but playtesters assure me that they actually do, which is good to hear. A lot of fights just keep happening. Like, there's fewer blowouts. If you line everything up, it's a blowout, but if you don't, it kind of gets stuck in. And yeah, redeploy is good turn 1. Because a lot of turn 1 is people kind of hesitating and just being like, I don't know where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. You don't want to get too close to the opponent, so otherwise they just line up all their charges, right? The Butcher. We're up to 8 wounds from 7. Still 5 up save, 6 move, OC 5 probably because all the Ogre foot heroes are 5. Gives an aura of run and charge of the Gutbuster units, big, and Wizard 1. Wizard 2 if next to the Maw Pot. And +1 the cast if in the sub-faction. Butcher stocks are up. Slaughtermaster stocks are also up. You get points when enemies are slain by combat from Ogre units wholly within 18. You have a terrain feature on your back as a Slaughtermaster, taken right out of my fan tome when we wrote the fan book a million years ago. Max at 3 points. In your hero phase, you can spend them to give Gutbusters wholly within 12 either a 5-up ward or +1 attack till the end of turn. Oh. Hey, that's kind of nice. Is it your hero phase or the hero phase? Not sure. If it's the hero phase, then this one is crazy. If it's just your hero phase, then it's still good. But anyway, if you're playing Gutbusters, I feel like a Butcher and a Slaughtermaster are just kind of tag team champions. Get off the bench, you're both in. Mournfang. Mournfang's job, because they needed a job. The problem with Mournfang is you take 4 of them and you could have taken a Stonehorn. Right. And Mournfang didn't really get any good use out of all of your army abilities. Right. So that was the problem previously with Mournfang. Well, what do they do now? Well, they have a shitload of wounds and a 4-up save. And since Stonehorns lost their 5-up ward, now Mournfang are more durable. For the points, probably. So that's 1. They got 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1 rend, damage 2, anti-cavalry 1 rend. And then the mount has 4 attacks, 4s and 2s, 1, 2. Companion. You got 7 attacks a model that are just all 4s and 2s, rend 1, damage 2. You have... This is an aura now, so... -1 the wound from shooting attacks. For you and friendly units within your combat range. So you're a little bit of an anti-shooter, but you're also an anti-cavalry, and more than just this. I have an extra thing to add. I have an extra thing to add here from what I saw. I saw it, okay? Trust. This isn't the only anti-cav ability of Mournfang. The other one is... enemy cavalry that are fighting you don't get their charge bonus to damage. So, like, your Blood Knights, your Cavalos guys, whoever, you know, they all, almost every cavalry in the game now has, when you charge, you get +1 damage. Not against Mournfang. You're chilling at 1 damage weapons. So having specifically like this Mournfang are like supposed to be your interceptor. You are cavalry that intercepts their cavalry and just shits on them. Very interesting. Very interesting. Might play some of it. Might play some of it. It works against keyword cavalry specifically. I got a lot of Mournfang. I'm looking forward to potentially putting those on the table. Stop right there, Cavalry Scum. Yeah. Why didn't they show either of the wizards in their hype post? They actually rock? Yes. Yeah, as you will learn looking at all these, whoever wrote that faction focus article was apparently choosing on purpose what things to show in a manner that could only leave someone like not excited for the army. I don't know. Either they don't play the game or I don't know what it was. But yeah, they tricked you. We still lost a bunch of stuff. You know, everything's really fragile now. You know, we were always gonna lose Stone Skeleton, Big Sad, right? We're way slower now. All the vultures are gone. There's still plenty of stuff we lost, but we got a lot of stuff too. And that's really what we were looking for. They just didn't tell us any of the stuff that we got. Sadly, we still have the stupid D6 attacks thing and D3 damage. But what are you going to do? Are you going to make another tier list after everything comes out? Yes, that's my plan. The point of the hype tier list was to do it after the faction focuses and then do it after the full indexes. And note the delta between excitement, right? Moving on. Iron Blaster. 2 attacks, 4s and 2s, Ren 2 damage, D3 plus 3. Big damn. And unlike the Spearhead, we kept the Super Shotgun. We kept the Super Shotgun, 8 attacks, 4s and 3s, Ren to 1 damage 2. Which is going to outdamage this up here, like always. Which is good. Who knows what the Iron Blaster costs, but it's still alive. Iron Blaster not dead. Taking a Trophy Rack to buff the Iron Blasters is dead, though. Trophy Rack only works on melee. Anyway, it's fun. Iron Guts. How are Iron Guts differentiated from Gluttons? Good question. They're a bodyguard unit. They're a bodyguard unit for the Tyrant, and they have mammoth fucking weapons. They still have the once per battle fight twice. They don't got much save. They don't got much save.
Good job, King.
Husbear, thanks to tier 1 for 3 months. Appreciate it. TYVM. They used to hit on 3s. They used to be 3s and 3s, if I recall. And 3s and 3s is roughly the same as 4s and 2s. What you have here is 13 attacks before buffs. 13 attacks at 4s and 2s, Ren 2 damage 3. That is not nothing. If they're in combat range with a Tyrant, him and them both have a 6-up ward. Only a 6. Once per battle, fight twice. Cool. You get 4 of these versus 6 Gluttons. And that's like the difference.
Prawn.
4 and 2 gets better buffs with all-out attack. Yeah, but it also gets more painful debuffs with a lot of -1s to hit in the game now. It just kind of depends like what you do and what happens to you during the game, right? Anyway, their weapons, fuck, that's for sure. But they're more fragile than ever. J-Rod, RN, thanks for the big prime. Frosted on Thundertusk, we went over again already. Yeah, the Rampage is a 5-up. Hordebreaker for the Frostlord version. Once per game, increase impact hit mortals for ogres. The exact text is add 1 to the dice roll to see if mortals happen, and then also for their damage, like it's that same die roll. And the important thing here is that with a Frostlord on Thundertusk once per game, you can't fail. Which is big. Not 33% to do 0, right? You thought 4s and 2s is equal to 3 and 3? No, it's slightly worse. I'm not good at math, but I think it's slightly worse. Ogres become death faction for 6-up ward army-wide. Problem solved. The thing that we don't know yet... Oh, I know what Frost Sabers are. I can just tell you. I have secret info. Frost Saber. They are 9-inch move. Their stats are irrelevant. You can't target them if they're hiding, cowering near terrain or something like that. It doesn't matter. The point of Frost Sabers is, because there's no battle line tax anymore, and they're no longer terrified of giving you cheap battle line in the Monster Mash army, it means that Frost Sabers can cost a reasonable amount of points. They're allowed to now. They weren't allowed to before because they didn't want you to get battle line too cheaply. And so they made those god-awful things 40 points a model, which made them the worst, like, what you get for what you pay for a unit in the game, basically. Now they can just cost whatever they need to cost. They still come in units of 2, so they're not going to be great chaff. They just don't cover a large area at all. But they're chaff that's very fast. The rest of their war scroll is blank, but who cares? You want fast chaff, so, you know, fair enough. I think Frost Sabers are going to be nice. Bust out your Fenrisian Wolves. We just got to see the points on them. What about the best unit? The based Yetis? Dude, Yetis kept their funny business. I believe the rule is extra D3 pile-in. Extra D3 pile-in. I don't think you can do the full business. No full sauce, like piling in from outside of combat into combat. I don't think you can do that. But they're just like a normal unit. They're like really bad Gorgers. Yetis. Yetis are like really bad Gorgers with an extra D3 pile-in distance. I don't remember wanting to play any. Which is good, because they're ugly. The Conductor thinks it's Prime for 34 months. Appreciated. Absolute Gaming. Oh, Tay Barracuda with the Plebby run. Let's go. She just scooting. What else can I say about Ogres that I recall? I wasn't shown either of the 2 hunters, Bloodpelt, Icebrow, but I was told with a sigh of resignation that they are both still trash. Now and forever. Don't get your little hopes up. I wasn't given why, I didn't see them, but Icebrow Hunter and Bloodpelt Hunter reportedly still trash. You can't have everything. I was hoping one of the 2 would be good, because I like to think I have a pretty cool looking one. I want to put it on the table. Well, maybe when the Battle Tome comes out. Are they cheap? I was told nothing about points. Points are still seemingly restricted. People can talk about War Scrolls here or there, but it seems like they're not allowed to talk about points. You heard something like Bloodpelt basically didn't change? Yeah. And if neither of them changed, then they're probably still bad. Anyway, we'll see. If Icebrow Hunter is a priest, then I think he's suddenly good, but maybe he's not a priest because they didn't say he was good. The original Do Trust You had points attached back when we doubted. Is it time to revisit? Justice for the Dude Trust Me? It seemed like wishful thinking, but then we looked at it and no, it was just the worst faction focus next to Gits, right? For just choosing stuff that looks like it sucks. I don't have it available to me on it somewhere in Giga, but anyway, so how do I feel about all this? Become a priest, great. I'm allowed to take this now. I wasn't allowed to take it before because they nerfed Arcane Tome in a goofy ass way because of some other army doing too well with it. I'm gonna make a Frostlord a priest. It's gonna be great. And then up here, I'm gonna complain when I'm drowning in -1 to hit penalties on my companion weapons and they're always missing. I will be complaining but I will have chosen this, and so it's no one's fault but mine. But I'm still taking priest. As far as artifacts are concerned, I don't think this works on companion weapons, but if it does, I'll take it. Otherwise, D6 mortals and heal on opponent turn, yes. Anything to stop my dudes from dying, probably. I'll be doing this one, but this one seems good too. Run and charge, yes please. I mean, you get all the prayers, but anyway, it's great. The spells are looking real good for guts. I'm going to take one Frost Lord and one Frost Lord. And then probably a million more in Fang. I don't know. I haven't planned it. I got everything. I got like 10,000 points. I'll cook something up. The biggest takeaway for me after all this is that I don't have to play Kragnos, which is the best news I could have possibly been given. Because holy shit, I don't want to play Kragnos. And I don't have to. Because he no longer synergizes with impact hits. So I don't have to take that awful thing. Who isn't even an ogre. I'm thrilled. Original dude, trust me. Alright. Copy and paste original dude, trust me. Let's revisit. Revisit original dude, trust me. The boy who cried wolf. Even better, you probably shouldn't take Kragnos. I mean, if you want to do our one battle tactic, sure, but I'm not trying to play that way. Run and charge multiple sources, true. Line of sight blocking abilities, true, which we saw in that thing. Abilities and spells improve our control score, true. Reduce enemy control score, true. Both Huskguards are priests. I mean, they were before. Frosh are legit, basically exact same profile, except only a 4-up save. +1 damage on charge for spear and horns, but not hooves. Unstoppable charge on their war scroll, not really. Only 360 points. I mean, I would expect 100 points off. Yeah, this makes sense to me. You know, they lost a 3-up save, they lost 4 inches of move, and they lost a 5-up ward. So yeah, I expect at least 100 points off. For sure. All the big beasts are like 50 to 100 points cheaper, I would expect, because they're considerably worse. Hornfang or Anti-Cav, they get Ren 2 against them. True. Iron Guts are the same, basically kept their fight twice and give nearby Tyrants a 6-up. True. Also themselves. Damn, is this justice for the dude, trust me? Slaughtermaster now gets points when units kill stuff and they can be spent to give abilities to units. True. Butcher gives run and charge to ogre units within 12. Not really, I mean it's Gutbuster, but yeah. True. Spell that gives run and charge to a unit. If cast on a high roll, its reroll runs and charges too. It's a prayer, but maybe there's a language barrier. Maybe there's a language barrier. Tyrants add +1 to mortals if anyone on the charge. So D3 on a 2-up, it's that many +1. Yeah. Brawler Guts. I should say that I've seen the Tyrant, and it has Brawler Gut. You don't get to pick a big name. You just get the big name that you picked anyway, which is Brawler Guts, which acts like your subfaction bonus. Ignore what he's right about. Focus on the one thing he's got wrong. I will not. I choose not to. I think I would like to point out what he was right about and what he was wrong about. I don't normally take advice. Hunter's basically the same. Yeah, Blood Pelt basically the same. Sag. Hunter basically the same. Sag. Both true. Yetis move in the enemy move phase and can move into combat. Ooh. I don't remember that, but I don't remember their war scroll very well. Maybe they're right, maybe they're not. Everything else seems good. Frost Saber is same, but they have the max control score of 1. They are beasts. Maneater, similar profile, but have 4-up shrug against non-core abilities. True. Spell to make terrain obscuring and units get 5-up near them. You're hazy on this, but you think it's right. It's not. It's a prayer. But again, it could be a language thing. And you only get the 5-up on a 10. For the ones you previously selected, but it's fine. You're hazy on this. I'm hazy on using it, so we're even. Scrap Launches got either crit mortals or anti-infantry rend. It would be the anti-infantry one. They did not get crit mortals. Points for most units are around the same. Flosh 360, which is 100 off. Hosh 300. Gluttons 220. Iron Guts 240. That's weird because Iron Guts are worse than Gluts, I think. Lead Belchers 150. Mornfang 2. Oh, we're back up to 200. So Mornfang began the game of Age of Sigmar at 200, and we're back to it. 100 points a model. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. Yeti's 120, Iron Blaster 240, Scrap Launcha, Gorgia, still 260 for these guys. Okay. And Nabolars 120. Noblars are basically the same. Still very slow. They have a groin biter. Frostodon Thundertucks 330. Beast Riders 260. Alright. Monsters went down. Mornfang went up by a lot. But they're a lot better. We'll see. If this is true, and most of it seems to be. This seems to really be somebody who was asking us to trust them. And they were talking crazy talk based on what we knew about the faction focus. Well, justice for Dude Trust Me. That's plus 40 for Gorges. I thought they were no, they were 320, weren't they? Or 220, I mean. Nice to know the points with this new regiment rules. You wonder how the army compositions work out. Probably 2 heroes and 2... I don't know. It's hard to say because I haven't played. But on paper it seems to be like you're going for 2-drop, probably. A few of the mega halves will be able to make some 1-drop nonsense, but I doubt it. I bet everybody's on like 2 drops probably, and if you can't do it by there, you might as well go for 1 million. It's going to depend on how many of your battle regiments are the ones that allow you to put other heroes in, from what people tell me. It sounds like taking more than 3 heroes is going to make you give up first turn. Yeah, depending on what you can fit in the battalions. Which is bad news for ogres. Because we have a long history of never being able to go 1-drop.
King.
Because monster heroes are too like expensive and slot taking. Ortmandius, thanks for the big tier 1, I appreciate it. For 3 months. You can't believe it, we gotta think for ogres now? Yeah, that's good though. You would imagine very few armies are 1-drop. Geez, I can't even... You would have to have the perfect stars aligned to be able to go 1-drop now, I think. You probably, maybe, don't even want to be. Suns will be 1-drop? Do you think so? It might be like 1 mega, and then however many littles, and that might be a battle regiment for them. It might be like King Broad, maybe, plus 1 other mega, who knows? Anyway, it's kind of like pointless to who knows, let's think about it. Alright, now that we got ogres out of the way, they look way better than we thought in the faction focus. probably not great. They're very fragile. They're very fragile. I think just dying is... they're very fragile, and they're very, very susceptible to minuses to hit. I mean, same as it ever was, though. That being said, their control scores can get crazy, especially on the Gutbuster side. And out-of-phase charging is a real concern. Hey, alright, just play better, right? Just play good. Like a B now? It would be irresponsible of me to even consider... Oh, you mean for hype. Okay, pardon me. Yeah. I thought you were talking about, like, how good are they going to be? I'm like, bro, if you're predicting who's going to be, like, the best army, I think it's a little early for that. But it's Cruel Boys. Yeah, probably like C plus, B minus. C plus, B minus hype. Which is a huge improvement from F.
Which prime?
Let me just say. Parthalion, thanks for the big prime. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be better in motion. I gotta just... Some of this stuff, you just gotta play it, like, twice. And then be like, okay, alright. So that's what other people are doing. So now I'm better able to figure out if what I'm doing is actually good or not. You know, all sorts of stuff like that. What's next? What do we want?